Hi girls and guys, it's Mr. Tracky and we're on the right track. Now it's no secret that one of the most important and versatile weapons in Fortnite Battle Royale is the assault rifle. In today's video I'm going to give you vital tips to help you improve how you use the assault rifles and to ensure that you start to get much more kills than you normally do. But before any of that, we need to get familiar with what we have in terms of choice. Now from the top left and working down, we have the common assault rifle down to the uncommon, the rare, then we move on to the epic scar, the legendary scar, and on the right hand side we have the common, the uncommon, and the rare burst rifle. There's the damage profiles for body and head and the reload time, so already we can see which guns are slightly more powerful than the others. I understand that the scoped AR isn't in that selective group there, and there's a reason for this. That, in my personal opinion, is a long range weapon and it does not compete with these particular weapons in question when it comes to the generic usage of them. It's more of a specialist weapon, so I'll be doing a separate video on that just to cover that particular weapon alone. So which assault rifle should you select? Well, in reality it all comes down to personal preference. You may be someone that loves the M16 like myself, and this is the only AR you'll use unless you have a scar. You may be somebody that prefers the burst rifles. I know a lot of people are not so confident with the burst rifle, and this is why they use the M16. It's all about landing your shots and it's all about playstyle. Are you somebody that prefers to hang back a little and play a more defensive role? Then you may prefer to use the burst rifle. Or are you somebody that is a lot more aggressive and in the face of the enemy? Then you may prefer the fully automatic M16. An example of how much preference can change: you may know Ninja will prefer to use the blue burst rifle over the scar. So again, it's all down to your personal preference, and that's something that nobody can question apart from yourself. Next dilemma is going to be rarity. Now I will always select a weapon based on its rarity. The higher the rarity, the more likely I'm going to pick it up. There are only two rifles that I will have a debate about with myself, and I'll always select one for a particular reason, and that is the blue assault rifle, the rare one, and the rare blue burst rifle. I will always take the M16 surely because it's fully automatic and I'm a lot more confident with that particular weapon. But in terms of the tier that you pick your rarity of your weapon, always try and go for the one with the higher DPS. So if it's green and you see a blue, you know you need to select it. If it's a M16 and you can see a scar, then you know what to do. You need to swap them out and go for the one that is going to do the most damage when you get into gunfights. So we've got through the dilemma of what weapon we're using and what rarity. Next up is probably one of the most important things you'll learn in this video, and that is when you're getting into gunfights, the majority, and I will say again, the majority of the time, not all the time, but the majority, you need to crouch when you are shooting. Why do you need to do this? When you crouch, it actually tightens the bullet spread, so you are far more accurate with your shots and you will land far more shots. So if you've ever been in a gunfight with someone standing and you're down and vice versa, usually the person that's crouching is the one that will annihilate the other party. Obviously it takes into consideration whether you're shooting people in the body or in the face. That makes a significant difference. But when you're in a gunfight and you're using an AR, you want to try your absolute best to crouch in a position which is better for you. It's something that you're going to need to condition yourself to do, and it will take a while. But if you see somebody in front of you with their back against you and they don't know you're there, crouch. Get into the habit of crouching and making sure that you do that before gunfights. There will be instances where you're caught off guard, you'll need to fire when you're standing up, that's fine. But any time you can crouch in a gunfight which is beneficial for yourself, do it. It will be much better for your accuracy. So now you've got the hang of crouching and you're much more accurate, but there's something you don't want to do whether you're standing or crouching. And there are times when you can do this, but the majority of the time you don't want to do that, and that is spamming your bullets, just absolutely spraying and praying. And there's reasons you don't want to do that, and the main reason is you're going to deplete your clip, and while you're reloading you give your enemy a window to attack you. And often enough, when you just keep your hand on the trigger and just let the gun rip, you won't land your shots as accurate. What you need to do is take full advantage of the auto aim in the game. Me, I will shoot around 4 shots in bursts on occasions with my assault rifle just to make sure I'm landing more shots, because there's no point having a high output of bullets if you're not landing the shots. You want to land as many bullets as physically possible in the clip, just to avoid situations like having to reload and giving your enemy a chance to fire back at yourself. Now, there is an exception to this rule, and this is when you've got a panic builder or someone that's obsessively building in front of you. You will need to spray at that person just to knock their materials down and hopefully get some shots on them as well. The SCAR is absolutely perfect for this. It does so much DPS that you will rip through their resources and hit them at times. So yes, there are exceptions to the rule, and that exception is spray at people who are building just to go for them. And just if you can, switch from your grenade launcher, knock down their stuff, and then switch straight back to your AR and give them hell. Now, you've just heard me mention auto aim, and this is something that you need to learn to manipulate in this game to improve with assault rifles. There are occasions where you'll be aiming down sight and you cannot track the enemy that you are shooting at because they're moving far faster than your sensitivity, and this is where you need to zoom back out and zoom back in and let the auto aim lock back onto your target and start shooting again. And it goes back to what I've just said in terms of bursting your shots. Sometimes you will have to adjust. Don't be afraid to adjust mid gunfight. It's all about who is hitting shots, not who is shooting. And this is something you need to remember. Try not to panic when you are in a gunfight. It's so easy to get into a gunfight and just literally start spraying, hoping that you land your bullets. It's been a bad habit that I've had in most shooter games, and it's something that I've really squeezed out of my game in Fortnite, and it really has changed how many games I win now, how many gunfights I win. Another thing you must, and I mean must, learn to do is organize your inventory. So you have your assault rifle. I always have mine as the first weapon. It's just the most used weapon in my inventory, and my last weapon is either a scoped assault rifle or a sniper rifle. Now, the reasons for this is I like to take a shot with the sniper rifle and give off some really high damage, and then switch back to my AR really quickly, just a press of a button, and finish that person off. You also can do this, as you probably saw in the first few clips in the video, where you can hit somebody with a pump, switch straight back to your AR and just finish them off. It's so useful to have your AR in the first slot, so you've got a shotgun which you can select by using your right shoulder button, and if you're on your AR again, you can use your left shoulder button to get straight to your sniper rifle and back. It's just the most logical way to have your setup, in my opinion. So you've got damage both sides, 2 different weapons on both sides of your AR that are very high damage, and you can switch back and obliterate people. And believe me, you will win so much more gunfights by doing this. Get used to switching weapons very quickly just to finish people off, and you'll see the difference in your game. Just a quick recap on what we've covered. When it comes to choosing your weapon, it's all down to preference. Always select the best rarity, but the best rarity that you are comfortable with. Always crouch when you're getting into gunfights unless you can't and you have to shoot standing up, but where you can, make sure you are crouching. Try not to spam bullets unless you are shooting at somebody who is actually building and there is a fort in your way. Always go for headshots where possible, as this will deal the most damage to an enemy. Make sure you manipulate the auto aim, let it snap on for you and do the rest from there. The auto aim is the difference between a good and a bad player on console. And get used to switching weapons. Make sure your inventory is set up properly for when you actually go into a gunfight. You don't want to be panicking switching around for weapons that are not there and you're in the middle of a gunfight and you've got bandages in your hand. Before you go, is there anything you believe I've missed? Is there any other type of tip video that you want me to cover? Please let me know down in the comment section and I'll do my best to reply to every single one of you. And last but not least, there are many buttons you could hit, but the like and subscribe button, I hope they tickle your fancy. And as always guys, don't forget to stay on the right track. Peace.